Good evening. I'm Sean Roman, pinch hitting for Nisa Petrilli.
I'm Jay Kaplan.
I'm Steve Ferguson.
And I'm Anthony Strait.
And this is On the Sports Lines, the Summer Olympics Special. The 31st Summer Olympics get underway on Friday in Rio. As they have for most of the 2000s, the United States brings a very strong, very deep team that is expected to be among the leaders in medals. Tonight, we're going to be talking men's basketball, women's gymnastics, and swimming for the USA. We'll also take a look at some of the other storylines to watch and some of the issues plaguing the Rio Games. As always, we would love to hear from you, so please email us at fanspeak@onthesportslines, send your tweets to @onthesportslines, and your posts to facebook.com/onthesportslines. Have we got any emails, Jay?
I don't know. We'd have to ask Pedro after the show.
All right. The men's basketball team that the USA brings to Rio is not really as A-list laden as the teams of the recent past. Kevin Durant and Carmelo Anthony are the A-listers on this squad, but it's still considered the gold medal favorite.
Yep.
Steve, what is the strength of this team?
I believe the strength of the team actually is their fast break ability. You have guys like Carmelo Anthony, Paul George, Kevin Durant, and the two guards they have, Kyrie Irving and Kyle Lowry. This team can really run a fast break well. They have great speed, ball handling ability, and overall I think they'll really run their team very efficiently with those guys.
Hell, even Draymond Green can lead the break.
All right,
He
let's
sure
go
can.
on the other side. What's the weakness of this team?
Well, Sean, the weakness of this team is the lack of legitimate three-point shooters, which is a big thing in the international game. Klay Thompson's the only member of this team on Team USA who's a legitimate three-point threat, number 2 in the NBA in makes with 276 and 6th in percentage at 42.5. Now, you got Paul George, you got Kyle Lowry, the only other guys on this team that have made over 200 three-pointers. They both shot less than 40% from the arc. George at a little under 38, Lowry at a little under 39. Kevin Durant, likely to be the USA's top scoring option, was barely a 38% three-point shooter. Now remember, here's the deal with the three-points line in the Olympics. It is the FIBA dimensions of 21.65 in the corners, and you got about a little over 22 up at the arc. Now the shorter distance should, in theory, improve the percentages for George, Lowry, and even Durant, and should feel like a layup for a sniper like Thompson.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, remember, the corner three is a staple of NBA offenses on drive and kick plays, and the team has excellent ball handlers. You start with Irving and Lowry, who you brought up. They're equally adept at running the drive and kick as they are running the break. And even Green can handle the ball and set that up.
Can.
So if the guys can get used to the shorter distance, this weakness could become, if not necessarily a strength, at least not an Achilles heel that opponents can use to their advantage when game planning against the USA.
All right, Anthony, this is the best question we have tonight. We saved it for you. Who do you think is Team USA's best competition?
You have to go with the Spain national team. I mean, they were the second ranked in the world for FIBA behind the United States. And they're the silver medalists for back-to-back Olympics, 2008 and 2012. And both gold medal games, they pushed the United States deep into the fourth quarter. And the United States had a couple of key baskets. Remember, Kobe Bryant, 4-point play in one, a 10-over in the last 3 minutes in 2012 that got them the gold medal. You look at the NBA players they're bringing back. They got Pau Gasol, Jose Calderon, Rudy Fernandez. No Marc Gasol. He's got the broken foot. No Serge Ibaka because he questioned his role in 2012 on the team. So that's two very, very big losses that could pound the United States inside. That would have been a big help. But also, when you look at, and you mentioned that short three-point distance, what would negate the United States athleticism and speed? Three-point shooting. If any national team get hot, it'll be the Spaniard national team.
All right. Well, they may not be the Magnificent Seven or the Fierce Five, But the United States women's gymnastics team, led by reigning world champions Simone Biles and 2012 returnees Allie Raceman and Gabby Douglas, are the gold medal favorite in most of the individual events as well as the team medal. Anthony, what do you think about Team USA possibly winning all 6 events?
I say it won't happen, and because for brilliant they are inconsistent. I watched a little bit of the Olympic trials, of course. I went back to the replay. You know, obviously do research on the show.
Yep.
And Gabby Douglas, this ain't the Gabby Douglas of 2012. She has really struggled this year.
Yeah.
And some even questioned her spot on the team, but she was able to perform the final day of the trials and earn her spot. She has struggled up and down. Even Simone Biles, who's like perhaps the best of all of them, she's had a problem. She actually fell off the balance beam during the U.S. trials.
Yep.
But the backbreaker is going to be the uneven bars. Everyone on this team struggled with the uneven bars. If you date back to 2012, for as good as that Fields 5 team was, only Michaela Maroli, Douglas, and Raisman actually medal individually. So I can't really see for as good as the 2012 version was, or even go back to 1996 team that is so fabled. They didn't sweep, neither did in 2012. I don't see how it's going to be possible in 2016, unless Simone Biles get hot and wins all 6. I don't think it's going to happen.
So let's go to Steve. Simone Biles, who do you think's her biggest competition for all-around gold?
She's got quite a bit on her team, but I think Allie Raceman is probably the one woman who can give her the most competition. She finished, get this, she finished 4th in the 2011 World Championships, 4th in 2012 Olympics in the all-around, and 4th on Dancing with the Stars, if you count that. But she is a terrific gymnast, and I think she will give her the most competition. She's probably as consistent as anybody they have.
That's
So,
why
Jay,
she's team captain.
Absolutely.
If Simone Biles does win the all-around golds, in your opinion, is she the greatest U.S. gymnast ever?
You know, I mean, it may be controversial for me to say this, but I kind of have to say yes. I mean, missed the 2012 games due to the age cutoff, but since she debuted in 2013 at the senior team level, she's flat out dominated this sport, winning every all-around competition she's entered. That's 12 in a row, guys.
Wow.
First female gymnast since '74 to win 3 straight U.S. nationals. First female gymnast ever to win 3 straight all-around world championship golds. 14 total world championship medals. Most decorated American female gymnast ever. She even has her own signature move. She does 2 backflips followed by a half twist in a laid out or straight body position. Here's the deal with this thing. When she does it during the floor exercise, she has no idea. She's practically blind. She has to feel where the floor is because she's not going to see it until she's about ready to land. Wow. She's the only woman in the world who actually manages to pull this off. It'll be in the end of her second tumbling round when she does her floor exercise. Here's the deal. She has a chance to get 5 golds in Rios, though, Anthony, I agree with you, she may not get all of them. But even if all she does is continue her dominance of the all-around and lead the USA women to the team gold, which would be their 5th straight in world or Olympic competition, I still think she gets the title of best ever. I mean, look, you have the likes of Mary Lou Retton, who was the all-around champ in '84,
Yes, she
7-time
was.
Olympic medalist Shannon Miller, and 2008 all-around champion Nastia Liukin saying the same thing. So who am I to argue with those 3?
Yeah,
I will
agree.
miss Michaela Maroney this time around. I mean, this was someone...
Will you miss her routines or will you miss the look on her face?
Look on her
Probably
face.
both.
This was someone who was leaps and bounds better than the entire rest of the field. And yet she came up short, which just proves the magic of the Olympics, that you just got to be on the field and a medal is possible, even gold.
Yep.
You're right.
Once again, the United States brings a team to the Summer Olympics in swimming, led by some of the most dominant athletes in the world. You know the marquee names: Michael Phelps, Ryan Lochte, Missy Franklin, and Katie Ledecky. But there's plenty of depth even behind them. Steve, let's talk about Michael Phelps' legacy.
Okay.
Is it completely secure no matter what happens in
I
Rio?
would say absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
this guy is probably the best swimmer we've ever seen. That even includes Mark Spitz. This man has 22 medals overall, 18 of them gold. He has been a phenomenal swimmer his entire life. And at age 31, he's coming back after a couple of years of trying to decide whether he wanted to continue or not. But, you know, now he's married now, has a kid, and he's matured a great deal. And he finally said, you know what, I want to give this one more shot. He was 30 pounds overweight at one point, worked his tail off to get back in shape. And I don't think it matters whether he gets another medal or not. He has had such a phenomenal career, and I'm a huge fan of his.
And he's the USA's flag bearer. So.
And what about guys? He's also had some off the, I guess, pool matters, drunken driving,
But
going out with a transvestite.
He's turned that around, though.
The bomb
He's actually
scenario
finally grown
from a few years
up.
ago. He's finally grown up. Yeah.
All right. Jay.
Yeah.
Katie Ledecky.
Yes.
Can she top Missy Franklin's 2012 Olympics?
In terms of overall number of medals, no, because she's not swimming in the same number of events. But in terms of utter dominance of the ones she is swimming in, hell yeah. I mean, she's swimming the individual 200-meter freestyle, the 400-meter free, and the 800-meter free. She's the gold medal favorite in all three, and it's why you should watch. She owns 8 of the top 10 all-time fastest times in the 400, all of the top 10 fastest times in the 800. In the 800, her best time this year is almost 11 and a half seconds faster than her closest rival. Oh, and yeah, in January, she recorded the 7th fastest time ever in the 200 and as the fastest 200 this year. And that's her worst of the 3 events.
Wow.
She won the 800 in London as a 15-year-old, surprising everybody since then. 15 for 15 in major international races, setting every world freestyle record in the 400, 800, and the 1500, which doesn't get run at the Olympics along the way. Here's the thing, guys. You almost have to go back a half a century to find any swimmer who's done what Ledecky is capable of doing. Debbie Meyer, at age 16 in the 68 Summer Games, won the 200, 400, and 800 freestyles, and she remains the only female Olympian to win 3 individual freestyle golds in a single Olympics and held at the same time the world record in all 3 of those events, plus the 1500. That's the history Katie Ledecky is swimming for in Rio.
Anthony, who would you say is another swimmer that you would be watching in Rio?
You know what? I'm looking forward to seeing Maya Devaldo, and she's a Stafford alum. By the way, she's one of only 3. Michael Phelps, Ledecky is the only 2 that won 3 events at the Olympic trials. She won the 200-meter backstroke, the 400 IM, and the 200 IM. She's competing in all 3. Here's the thing, though. She came up so close to qualify in 2012. She finished 4th on the Olympic trials. She came back. She's a 2-time world championship with Team USA. She obviously qualified for this year's Olympics, first and only Olympics. She's actually retiring at the age of 23. You know, she's happily married. She's got a job waiting for her, and has a business analyst in Atlanta. Why not go into the real world with Olympic gold?
Hey.
You know, it's a nice little memento to have around the office.
Sure.
So you can show off to your coworkers during happy hour.
You know, I agree with you, Anthony, but I'm also going to be looking to see how Ryan Lochte
Yeah.
finishes out his Olympic career.
Yeah.
He
Silver medal and all.
spent his career swimming in the shadow of Phelps. It'd be interesting to see how he
Phelps'
comes
best
out.
competition is
you
Ryan
held him too.
Lochte.
Silver, and he's a silverback now.
Basketball,
Yeah.
gymnastics, swimming are usually considered the marquee events at the Olympics, but there are going to be a ton of other sports and athletes worth watching. We're going to look at 3. Jay, Usain Bolt,
Yes.
hero in Jamaica, national monument over there. This is his last Olympics.
Yes, it is.
What do you think is his legacy?
I think he's going to go down as the greatest sprinter who ever lived. Now, granted, he needed a medical exemption in order to compete in the 100 and 200 meter events because he had a left hamstring injury, so the Jamaican, he couldn't run in the Olympic trials for Jamaica. But here's the thing, guys. If you're in, if you don't think he's going to have his A game in Rio, you're underestimating him at your own peril. Check out this guy's resume. I know how good he is, and even this blew my mind.
Yeah.
First athlete, male or female, to win consecutive Olympic golds in 100 and 200, shattering world records along the way in both events. Also led Jamaica to the gold of the 4x100 relay in the last 2 Olympics. He's won world championships in every 100 and 200 that he's run since 2009, with the exception of 11, where he false started and got DQ'd. At the 2009 Worlds, he ran a 9.5800 and a 19.19 200. Both records still stand. In the last 8 years, he has won 67 of 72 combined 100s and 200s he's run along the way, and he's broken the world record in the 100 and 200 5 times. And I think NBC's Olympic track analyst Otto Bolden put it best. I mean, this guy himself is a 4-time Olympian, Olympic medalist in the 100 and 200, and he said this: if Bolt wins 3 gold medals in Rio, 100, 200, 4x100. You have to start talking about him in the same sentence as Gretzky, Ali, and Jordan because it's that significant, and I can't argue with him.
And I think
agree.
what makes it compelling is this year he's more vulnerable than he's ever been in an Olympics.
Yep.
All right, Steve. Amazingly, golf is back after 112 years. But the PGA's best are not going to Rio. What do you think about that?
You know, golf is definitely not my favorite sport, as you guys all know. So I don't have a problem with them coming back after this length of time. But I think one reason golf is not that big a deal is, first of all, what are we talking about tonight? We've been talking about basketball, gymnastics, and swimming. Where does golf rank? Probably not very high. And we're talking about maybe 10 to 15 years down the road, it may be a major sport in the Olympics. One of the reasons it's not is because of this dreaded Zika virus, which we all have heard about and know about. And I think it started with Dustin Johnson, who was actually the first one who said, I'm not going to this.
Yep.
And then you had other guys on the fence like Jordan Spieth.
Not going.
Jason Day is another one. So you've taken away 3 of the best golfers on the planet who could have been playing, and so that diminishes the sport to begin with.
All right, Anthony, we're going to let you analyze United States soccer. Team USA, they're coming off a very rich stretch. Can they be beat?
No. And I say this because they're dealing with a shorter field. It's not the 24 teams that do in the World Cup. It's only 12. That's number one. Number two of the enigmas in the past, Japan and England, are not in the Olympics. Japan, shockingly, did not qualify.
Really?
And England,
Right.
and England, obviously, they would have had to participate as separate countries instead of all together. So they did not qualify at all either. Actually, they weren't eligible. But when you look at Team USA, they have some new additions. Obviously, Chris Dunn is one of them. Also, you have Lindsey Horan and Mallory Preed to go with the stables. You know, Hope Solo, Alex Morgan,
Carly Lloyd,
Becky Sauerbrunn as well. It seems anticlimactic in the Olympics when you think about everything they went through last year for the World Cup. But if there's a team that have a legitimate shot at knocking them out, is the host city, the host country, Brazil. The last time I checked, Marta was still on that team, and she's been a United States killer her whole career.
She has.
All
Remember
right,
the 3 goals in 2007? I think Hope Solo didn't forget about that because she was on the bench watching.
We must move on. Most, or at least many of the recent Olympics, have had issues that have cast a dark cloud over the games. Rio is no different. So our panel is going to weigh in on 3 of the biggest. Jay, what's the effect of the ban on Russia's track and field team?
Well, you know, the U.S. track team should have a field day. Yeah, I know it's a bad pun, and only my brother Jeff, who's a track coach at Malloy, will appreciate it.
But most of their competition is not Russia.
No, that's true. But I mean, it also opens up the field for other countries besides the USA. I mean, if you think about it, the last time Russia was this absent from an Olympics was the Summer Games in L.A. in 1984, as they were one of 14 communist countries boycotting. The U.S. had 83 medal golds in that game. Still an Olympic record. Wow. Russia's been among the top 3-4 medal winners each of the last 5 Summer Games, forced to be reckoned with in track and field, wrestling and gymnastics. 79 medals in London, trailing only the USA and China. Their entire track and field team, entire weightlifting team, 16 to 17 wrestlers, 100 members of the 387-member team are not coming to Rio.
Over.
About 180. Now, yes.
Wow.
So, and here's the thing.
So about 30% of their team is...
There you go. So, and you know what? The question that's being kicked around is, did the IOC do enough here? Should they have banned the entire country? You know, instead of letting each of the federations decide who should go and who not. Like I see both sides of this argument, but here's where I come out with this. If this was the type of international competition that happened annually, I can see applying the death penalty to a country to send a message, you know, to the rest of the world. Hey, you do this. This is what you're going to face. But I look at it this way. The Olympics are every 4 years. Banning athletes who are clean in order to send a message to those who are not only in Russia but around the world, to me, would not only defer some Olympic dreams, but it would kill others entirely. And to me, that's not in the spirit of the game.
So you think they struck the right balance?
I think they did, yeah.
All right, Anthony. Big question for you. What's the effect of the Zika virus keeping athletes away from this games?
Ooh, where do I start? Oh, wow. I mean, this is a serious issue. I mean, you got to look at it, the Zika virus. It's actually just linked to microcephaly, which is a birth defect, you know, among babies, pregnant women. And obviously, been medical experts telling pregnant women to stay away. It can also be sensory transmitters also. But when you look at it, a lot of athletes like Jason Day, Roy McIlroy, Lindsey Vonn, so many others, they kind of say, no way, we're not going down there to put ourselves at risk. And it's a serious topic because you look at the risk of going down there for Olympic gold and possibly jeopardizing your long-term
Anthony,
health.
can I jump in for 1 second?
No, sure,
How
go
about
ahead.
you're representing your country? If you're a veteran, we represent your country. You don't get to say, hey, I don't want to go to Afghanistan because they have a lot of diseases and death there. I don't want to go to Iraq. There are a few Olympics, and ultimately they represent their country, and if you're not going, you're weak. You're a coward.
Hold on.
I don't
hold
like
on.
you. Give the credit to the real veterans because they go wherever they're set. That's what you do when you represent your
That's
country,
absolutely-
in my opinion.
No, but
Absolutely
that's
true.
absolutely true.
That's true
But
in
here's
most
the thing.
cases.
Going where you're deployed is not optional. Going to an Olympics is voluntary.
And while
agree
it's
It's a
Yeah.
privilege, though.
It
It doesn't
is.
come up.
It
You should
definitely
do
is.
it, and you shouldn't cry about it.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
yeah.
to me, it shows
Yeah,
weakness.
but at the
I
same
don't know. I'm
time,
not
this
sure
is
about that.
at the same time, 2012, 2008, 2004. This is not disease was not an issue.
No.
And also
No,
we're
not
dealing
at
with
all.
it here in Florida as well.
Yep.
So
Yes.
you had doctors and physicians months ago, 150 of them,
and-
sent a letter to the World Health Organization talking about
and
moving this
ties
summer
in
games.
to what you're to your point
All right,
about
let's
the
let Steve
ecological
jump
issues.
in.
It
Go ahead.
does. You know what? I definitely think when you look at the fact that you have the Zika virus, this puts a huge damper on the sport in general. I mean, it really does because athletes are fearing to even get in the water. I mean, you're talking about rowing events or any event that involves water. They have every right, and golfers the same thing. I mean, they really have a right to say, look, I'm not going to get involved with this.
I mean, the pollution and
Oh, yeah.
the level of
And the corruption.
biological issues in the water for the open water
Right.
events is just as scary to me
Yeah.
as what you could contract if
Yeah.
you fall in the water as
Yeah.
you could if you get bit by a mosquito.
And also on top of that is for all the talk about, okay, it's safe, it's the fall weather, the threat of Zika virus is not that bad. Why am I seeing pictures on CNN of cans of bug repellent?
There you go.
Also got a lot of
And-
bashing yesterday, but guess what? I'm with her. A lot of athletes have to concern.
Anthony, that music right there means
What
it's
can I say?
time for the 3-minute warning, so I'm going to ask you to lead off.
To say that Carmelo Anthony is having quite the busy summer is an understatement. First, he watched his team, the Knicks, reload in a win-now mode by adding new players like Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah. Then he, along with some of the league's best, opened last month's ESPY Awards with a call to action against gun violence. Now he is in Rio prepared to play in the Summer Games for an unprecedented fourth time. At 32, he will become arguably the most accomplished player in the history of Olympic basketball if he adds to the 2 gold and bronze medals he already have. Melo have not just embraced being the leader of Team USA, but a leader off the court. It was Melo who called out the WNBA for issuing fines to his players for wearing shirts promoting anti-violence.
Yep.
It was also Anthony who organized a town hall meeting consisting of 200 people, including USA men's and women's basketball, Los Angeles police, and members of the Boys and Girls Club to discuss recent police violence.
Nice.
For all the criticism of Melo's leadership throughout his NBA career, his leadership on and off the court this summer may be his best answer to those very critics yet.
Yes, sir.
That's right. Cashman finally got it right this time. Hey, Yankee fans, welcome to the real world. No, I'm not talking about the 27 championships immersed in World Series splendor and glory, demolishing opponents with searing efficiency. I'm talking about building championships. And this time, Cashman finally got it right. Winning baseball isn't based on buying the awards. Remember these 5? Jeter, Rivera, Pettit, Posada, and Williams? From the farm system that the Yankees are finally redeveloping? Well, now, Yankee fans, it's time to rebuild. With 9 new prospects, plus Tanaka, Gregorius, and Betanzas, finally you're catching on that it's the best way to win a championship. We know you believe it's your birthright to win it all, but patience and humility, qualities Mets fans definitely know, are the ones that the Yankees now need to show.
Yeah.
Baseball's big on milestone numbers. 300 wins, 3,000 strikeouts, 500 homers, 3,000 hits. Now those milestones typically take a minimum 15-year career, but if you hit them, usually put you on Cooperstown's radar. With that as an intro, I give you Ichiro Suzuki, who burst onto the scene as a 27-year-old rookie in 2001 after 9 seasons in Japan where he put up 1,278 hits and a .353 batting average. He put up 242 hits and a .350 average, winning Rookie of the Year and MVP in 2001, the first of 10 straight 200-plus hit seasons, including a record-setting 262 in 04. Now, everyone marveled at his hitting ability and shook their heads and sighed. If only he'd come to America at 22, they said. Could have broken Pete Rose's career record for hits. Well, I submit to you that 2 hits from now, when he reaches the 3,000 hit milestone in his major league career, he officially deserves to take the title of Hit King from Rose. If you include those 1,278 hits in Japan, this will technically be the second time he's reached 3,000, but it will give him 4,278 total hits over a 25-year professional baseball career in 2 countries. And if he reaches his stated goal of playing till he's 50, who knows what that total will end up being. He's hitting .320 as a 4th outfielder this year, and if he never plays again, it'd be a hell of a way to go out. To me, he's a Hall of Famer, and as someone who did it the right way, very much deserving of having Hit King inscribed on his plaque in Cooperstown.
In Philadelphia, umpire Bob Davidson stopped a baseball game and he pointed out to security a fan who was shouting obscenities that had to do with the word suck and 69th Street. This episode is symbolic of the reasons why I have watched fewer games this year. Baseball is losing something.
Yep.
Part of it is the Chase Utley rule. Part of it is seeing ubiquitous empty seats behind catchers because of the cost of tickets.
Yes, sir.
And the same thing applies to those seats near the dugout where that Philly fan was. What is the world coming to when a Philly fan is ejected for crudeness? Part of the tradition of baseball, and even sports in general, is that Philly fans are downright nasty.
Yes, sir.
It's a charm of American life. And away from those elite seats, I hate to tell you, but poor outfielders continue to deal with all sorts of chants, crude language, and abuse.
Yes, they do.
Makes me think of Jay Buhner. But those on the field are actually trained to ignore it and just follow the game.
Yep.
Enduring and carrying on is simply the price of getting paid to be on the field.
Yes, sir.
For Jay Kaplan, Steve Ferguson, and Anthony Strait, I am Sean Roman, and thank you so much for spending part of your evening with us. Before I continue, we all would just like to send our condolences briefly to our exceptional producer, Nolan, on the passing of his mother. We here hope to see you again on August 18th for another edition of On the Sports Lines. And remember, if you want to see this show again or catch up on any of those you may have missed, please check us out at youtube.com/onthesportslines. And where should they look at our blog?
OnTheSportslines.blogspot.com.
Go USA!
Go USA!
Good night,
everybody.
Good night, guys.